What's up, YouTube? This is Glenn, Red Dog Motorsports. We are back out in the shop once again, just like we always are. Today, something a little bit different. First off, thank you for watching, tuning in, and if you would, like and subscribe. Always helps us out, helps us continue producing out here. Some entertainment for you to watch. But as I said, something a little different today. I am working on an oil burner stove. This conglomeration of parts, hopefully we will create something to provide us some heat when we are out wheeling in those evenings. A lot of times, you know, in the winter, it's cold. Firewood is always nice. Nothing beats the ambiance of a fire. However, sometimes it's hard to get, and you can't always guarantee that it's going to be dry. The other is that I always have a lot of waste oil with all the vehicles I've got, constantly changing oil, and this would be a good way to get rid of it. I do recycle it, but it's getting harder and harder to do just around here. They're constantly monitoring it and want you to sign paperwork and all this stuff, and so being able to burn it cleanly and produce something from it would be helpful. That said, let's take a quick look. I drew up the design as I understand it. I've never built one of these before, but as you can see here, I'll bring you back a little bit. I'm going to build basically a vessel. In this case, I'm using some old double beadlot 16.5-inch wheels that I've got. They're for 2.5-ton axles. I'm going to weld them together. We'll have a chimney. Any place down here for ventilation, we'll just use the plasma torch. This is going to be a pan in the bottom. We'll have some tubing coming in through the side, some copper tubing going into that. The copper tubing will be used to feed the oil in the drip feed. We'll have an oil tank. I initially was thinking I would put the oil tank off in its own stand, but I actually think I'm going to mount it up here so that it can preheat and just make it all kind of a self-contained system. We'll have a blower connected to the tubing that goes around the oil drip feed. That will help inject air to vaporize this, and we'll get into all these dimensions as we go. But for now, let me since that's the basic design, I'll kind of stack it up and show you what I got. Set you down here real quick. If I'm going too fast, I apologize. I'm trying to make my video shorter. I don't know if talking faster is going to be helpful. Alright, so this is just a 14-bolt cover. I'm going to use it for the bottom. It'll just get stuck in there, welded in. Then we'll take rim 1 and rim 2. They're just set up like that. We'll just turn them a little bit, line them up, and then plug weld them in like so. We'll take another rim, turn it upside down. It'll get welded like so. And then this one also welded. And then I just cut the top off of a water tank. It goes up here. I'll show you all this a little bit closer here in a second. All right. So something like that is what I'm looking to achieve. Step back a little bit. That pan will be inside. Here's my feed pipe. This will go in through the side of it, and down here where the pan will be sitting. And then we'll, like I said, we'll have that blower blow through there, the oil feed. I think I'm going to use this old, that's a Gibson muffler. It was on a Toyota. I think I'll cut it, re-weld it to make a tank. I got me just a cap and bushing. We can weld up in here, and that will give us a fill. We'll make a piece on the bottom with the nipple screwed into it to make the drip feed. I've got a valving system. I'm going to show you that real quick. So this will be my valving system. Oops, right here. This is a typical ball valve. Got a little nipple. This will screw into the bottom of that tank. It'll just drip feed through. This is a ball valve. And then we'll use the copper pipe. We'll crimp the end. And I'll get into this a little bit more details. I'm just trying to give you an overview. But that's the goal. Whether or not this works as well as I hope, that's going to be the big question. But if I can get it to at least put off enough heat that you can stand around it in 40-degree weather and be warm, that'll be a plus. I'm hoping for flames out the top. But let's get into it and see what we can build. So as you saw in the slow-mo, got a bunch of welding done. I have the basic tank structure together now. We've got it welded up. My pan is going to sit down here. This will be where the burning happens. We're going to come in with the pipe up in here somewhere. I'll need to create a doorway on the other one of the sides that we can open and close. And then I need to put a chimney up here, up on the top. So we need to do some cutting. Here's I'll either have that. Oops, sorry about all the spinning around. I know, makes everybody dizzy. I've got a removable chimney I built before, something like this. Old charge pipe off of a Dodge. So I don't know, I made it removable because it just made it easier to haul around, but maybe we won't bother with that this time. Maybe I'll just weld it straight in there. I haven't decided yet, but for now I need to do some cutting. So it's going to be break out the plasma torch and cut the openings I need. I think we'll start with the door and the chimney first. They're the two easiest. And then once the pan's in there, then I can determine the angle of the dangle for the feed pipe that feeds the air and the oil. And then we'll start working on the exterior stuff. All right, guys, a little update on where we're at. So I got some openings cut in it. We got a chimney hole. And if you look down inside there, I've got the pan set. I got the pipe, the blower pipe that's going to go in about like that, a couple inches off the bottom. I'll weld it in place. It's just kind of sitting in there right now. But at any rate, there's the pan. This will sit up like that. It'll have the blower come through it, the blower air, and then in the center of it will be the copper pipe to drip the oil down into the pan. That's where all the burning happens. Door opening is here. I'll use the metal I cut out to make the door. Should have measured my pan before I did it. I had to cut it twice to make it so to slide in and out. And that's just so you can clean the pan. I got some holes cut in the bottom for ventilation. That's so it can draw air in. Still trying to keep it a little bit off the ground to not keep things on fire. But that's where we got so far. Now, I'm gonna weld this into place at the proper angle. And then we'll have to put in a hole for the copper pipe to come up. Oil tank will sit up here. Now, the heat from this should warm the oil. That's what you want. You want warm oil going down here and then into the burner. That helps with cleaner combustion. The hotter you can get the oil, the better it's going to be. Now, I suppose there's an inverse relation. You don't want it too hot because you don't want it flash fire in the tank or something. But remember, your engine oil gets up to a couple hundred degrees, 200 plus isn't unheard of. So, you can get it that hot without any worries, and we're probably another 100 degrees before I'd have to look. Don't quote me, before we worry about flash fire. But we're only putting in a little bit. But that being the case, and then this pipe, I'm gonna turn it down or something. We'll get it down over here so that I can put the blower on it. Once it gets here, we'll turn it down. Just got a little 110 blower for barbecues. That's what it was for. And that should be it. And then the chimney, I think I'm just gonna weld it in place. I'm not gonna worry about it. This thing's big enough, it ain't gonna matter. So I'll clean that up with a grinder. We'll weld it down. That'll be that. Something. So, big tank. It's got a little bit of weight to it. It's not super heavy. Still one man manageable, but we'll see how it goes. So we'll continue on, see if we can't get the rest of this going. If nothing else, it'll make a great fire pit. Over here, I'm working on installing or building the oil tank itself. So I've got the bottom half of it right here, and this is an old muffler, the Gibson muffler I showed earlier. I cut out the center of it. I've cleaned up the interior a little bit to get rid of the baffle tube and stuff that was in the one side, so the oil will flow all the way out. And what I'm getting ready to do here is I'm going to weld in this end cap, and this is just a piece of 1/4 inch circle that was cut out of something on my buddy's plasma table, and I grabbed it. And I'm going to weld it in with the MIG. And then I've got this cap. This is just a black iron cap. I'm going to weld it in with the TIG, or MIG rather. And then I'm going to take and weld this and this together, and I'm going to use the TIG. I'm going to treat it like pipe. Beveled the edges, cleaned them up. We'll gap it about a 1/16 or so. Go around, we'll do a root pass, and then we'll do a couple of fill passes just to get it all sealed up tight. And hopefully with that I can have no leaks, and then we'll be able to weld this to the burner itself. All right, so when I left off last time, I was working on getting the oil tank welded up. I have completed that, and I got it welded to the oil burner itself. Just used a piece of scrap. And then the tank is here. I've got my valving in place. It's closed right now. It just runs to this tube. This tube just runs in. Typically my blower would sit right here. I've got it taken off for the moment. We'll show that at the end of the video. Oil goes through there, and it comes out into my pan in here. Now, the problem that I had is that the pan is too far away from the burner itself, or the oil inlet. And because it's too far away, I was getting some oil splatter and not getting a good burn. So I've got to raise it up. Last night I put it on some 1 3/4 tubing, which I've got now sitting outside of that. So just some 1 3/4. I had it sitting underneath the pan, and that got it burning right. I've got to make my door a little bigger so that I can pull my pan out. I can't do it with this in place. Doesn't need to be much bigger. And then I've got to figure out how to make that. I want to lower that, but I got to figure out how to make my door bigger so that I can, or not figure out, I know how to make my door bigger. But I want to lower that. I think I'm just going to weld some tube to it to drop it down the 1 3/4. So that sits there, and then I got a piece of tube that makes it longer like that. And then the door will have to be big enough for the pan to just come out flat and tilt up. So let me get on that. We'll use the plasma. We'll cut out a bigger section of door to allow this pan to slide out. And it should work out just fine. When I did have it running and I had the pan up there up against that, it heated up quite nicely. It got the steel up to about 750 degrees is what I measured it at with my little thermometer gun. And I think it'll get hotter than that. I didn't have it burning correctly for very long, so when it's not burning correctly, I know it was pretty smoky. But all right, let's get on it. All right, we got it lit, or I've got it done-ish. Done as it's gonna get. But got some oil in the tank. We're going to see if we can light it. I don't have any kerosene. I've just got a little piece of rag. That'll act as a wick. I've got the fan on it. I'll show you a little bit more detail once I get it lit. Let's see if we can get it done. We'll see if that, it takes a minute to get, it needs to be hot. Which is usually why you add some kerosene to it, which I don't have any of, so I'm gonna have to get some. But the kerosene basically preheats it. Once you get it hot, then it's kind of self-sufficient. But we'll show you what I got. So, as we talked before, we got an oil tank, the feed, got the little fan on there. We just made a little handle out of whatever. And I used a couple old hooks and some chain link for some hinges. It's just a quick and dirty project. I just thought it would be fun to make. But that's it. That's the end of that. So I'll play with it, get it running a little better. But for now, I'm gonna sign out. I do only got one other thing to show you real quick. We got some parts. These boxes here, these are gonna be for the LS swap on the Jimmy. The longer one over here and the ones back here, those are for the white Dodge. Got power steering rack and some brake parts to go on the rear of it. That'll about make that a brand new truck underneath. And then of course over here, I think I showed that before, we got a bed, flatbed for the red Dodge. So a lot of parts coming up, a lot of projects that'll be happening this beginning of the year. And we'll be getting into the rat rod build as well. So looking forward to all that. I hope you all are too. So I'm gonna sign out. I thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe. Tell other people about it. Make a comment. Tell me what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. Appreciate it.